this. Let's talk a little bit about this, because last week we had several of our people get a hold of us and different things, and they wanted us to discuss this. And I've been sort of monitoring this because we do a lot of work with the adult film industry, from interviews to Skype interviews to all sorts of different things on this radio show. We've been doing that for probably, God, I don't know, 15 years now, I'd say. And, we've had everybody from Ron Jeremy to Jessica Drake on, Nikki Benz, all the names. And I'm real active on Twitter with the adult film industry, and they are with me as well. So much so that one time I was up for a radio job in a place called, I love this, Spencer, Iowa, and these people thought, because I had so many people following me on Twitter that were in the adult film industry, they thought I was in the adult film industry. Oh. And they were horrified. Oh my God, they were horrified. Oh my God, is he in porn? And it's like, well, I'll tell you, if I was in porn, I'd be making more money than I would be in radio. But that aside, I've been noticing a lot of this with this horrible thing. I've done a little bit of research on this, but I wanted to make sure that we got all of it out there, and I wanted to start with you guys. Tell us a little bit about what this, because it's pitched as a condom law, which is all just bullshit. So exactly. Explain to me, because from what I could tell last week when we were loosely talking about this on the show, I got the impression that this is going to give license to all sorts of pervs and stalkers out there, is essentially what this is going to do. But you go ahead and explain it to me. You're the expert. Go ahead.
So Proposition 60 is certainly under the guise of a condom mandate.
Okay.
And proponents of Proposition 60 are saying, we care about the performers in the adult industry, and we just want them to be safer. So
of course they do.
Not want to vote yes on making our industry safer. However, there's more to it than just that. It would allow any California resident to sue a producer of a film if they see that a condom is not being used. And that's it, even if it has nothing to do with the person, they are not harmed by it in any way. It gives California residents the power to bring lawsuits against producers. Now,
so this is kind of like the adult. This is like the porn version of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, because this is the craziest election year. For folks who follow the news a little bit, TPP of course has a portion in it where you can for instance a foreign country could sue the United States on grounds of copyright infringement, like on a movie or something like that. And so essentially what this is this is the porn version of TPP. Because if I'm just some random guy who just happens to be watching a porn movie and I see someone not wearing a condom, I can then sue. Is it the studio? Is it the actor? Is it the whole industry?
Well, there's a couple things in Prop 60. It says anyone who has a financial interest can be held liable. What does that mean?
Well, my financial interest is suing you so you can be held liable. Is that essentially what it is?
Is it like lighting people? Is that performers? Is that makeup artists?
Grip.
What does that mean? But it's supposed to be that you can sue the producer. However, nowadays, because it's so difficult to make money in the industry,
yes,
most performers make money by producing their own content or webcamming. And as a webcammer, you're considered a producer of that content. So this does target a majority of performers. It would affect performers more than it would affect producers, actually.
This is just the craziest thing. We have got a representative with us today from APAC, the Adult Performer Advocacy Committee. And you can get more information, apac-usa.com. And we're talking about this no on 60. Now, I'm assuming because, like I said, this is the craziest election year in the history of the business, all the way around from top to bottom. Is this one of those lovely propositions where if you vote yes on it, they've got it worded to where, well, if I'm voting yes, I'm supporting the adult film industry. If I'm voting no, I'm not supporting. Because we recently had a deal here in Kansas where if you voted no to discriminate against gay people, you really meant you were voting yes. And if you voted yes, I don't want to discriminate against gay people, that meant you were discriminating against gay people. So it's this weird thing where these half the people are going to the polls going, yes, I don't want to discriminate against gay people. I'm going to vote yes on this. But realistically, they should have voted no. Is that what this is? If I want to help the industry, I'm going to vote yes, when really I should be voting no.
Absolutely. The language is very misleading because it says Safer Sex and Porn Act or something like that. And of course, who would not vote no? Who's like, I don't want safer sex?
Yes, exactly. It's kind of like the whole thing with the discriminating against gay people for housing. Well, I don't want to discriminate against gay people for housing.
Right. It's very misleading, and it's very frustrating because the dialogue for our argument is very complex, whereas the proponents, it's very easy. It's like safer sex and porn. Okay, but for our argument, you need a lot of background information to really understand it. So we're certainly it's certainly an uphill battle for us.
This is, I would love to sit down with the people who created this whole thing with the, well, if you vote no on something, you really should vote yes. And if you vote yes on something, it really means no. I would love to talk to those people. It's kind of like the people that because they have done so much to screw voting up on all sorts of levels. Now, with this, no on 60, essentially, from what I can tell, the entire adult film industry, as far as the Twitter world is concerned, they've all gotten on board. I see all these little graphics with no on 60 and everything. Have you had anybody in the adult film industry, because I'm sure there probably is at least one or two, who is like, I don't care about this, or, well, if it gets voted down, it gets voted down. If it gets voted in, I don't really care. It doesn't really affect me. Do you have anybody like that, or is it across the board, everybody in the industry is like, no, this sucks, no on 60?
I think like you said, I'm sure that there's one or two. I honestly have not come across one. So it feels like across the board, most performers are really concerned about this. And because most performers are, they are also producers. That line between producer and performer doesn't really exist anymore. And so performers are not going to be able, they don't have the means to protect themselves in court. Performers don't make all this money like people think. I mean, it's just like,
I'll tell you,
low-income or low-income people, to be honest.
I'll tell you, and when we were out covering the adult video, we went out and covered the AVNs in Las Vegas in January. And I got to talk to all sorts of, whether people that was in the industry as far as a talent or directors or producers or agents or whatever. And I came away from there going, there's a lot of money being made, but nobody's getting their cut of this. Where the hell's all that damn money going that's made in porn? So, because this is going to get totally off the subject of where we're headed. But since you're in the adult industry and having a committee that's in the adult industry, maybe you can explain this to me. Because when I was out there, we talked with Derek Pierce, we talked with a few different folks that were in the industry. And for instance, there was this company that they had developed the software that goes to all the tube sites, and they identify all the clips, and they get the copyright owner and everything. And I said, this is amazing. I said, who's on board with this? And they go, no one. And I said, why? And they go, because nobody wants to be the first. That's how it works in porn. They wait
Right.
for someone else to jump in, and then everybody else jumps in. And so bringing it back to this, who was the first person that jumped on board of this thing to make sure everybody in the porn industry went, this sucks. No on 60.
I mean, I don't know. I think a bunch of performers have just spread the word, and all the other performers were like, wait a minute.
Well, that's cool.
Directly, because with Measure B, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with, it was the condom mandate that was on the last ballot on the last election year, and it was a condom mandate, but it didn't have the sue producer aspect, which is significantly more scary than just requiring the condom.
Yes, that right there is that's some scary stuff, because if the condom thing, whether it's of course everybody wants safer sex in the adult film industry. Nobody's disputing that. But the whole thing where you're like, you can make financial gain from it. That's what scares the crap out of me.
The person who brings a lawsuit would actually receive 25% of the fine. So it incentivizes people. And we've talked to legislators, and they're like, no. That won't happen. People don't do that. But that's
people don't do that? What?
Well, yeah. People won't use it as a tool to attack the industry, but we are always being attacked, whether it's as an industry or as an individual. This is a very real threat that we face every single day, and now we're just giving those people another means to do that. And people will use it if they know it's going to
harm. Yes, they will. If some jobber out there decides, oh, hey, I can sue somebody in the porn industry and get me a check, they're going to do it.
Right. Or even if they think it's going to hurt a performer, whether it's like anti-porn groups, extortionists, or stalkers even, I mean, they'll use it to get private information from us, our home addresses.
Well, see, that's something else I want to discuss with you on this, is that one of the graphics that I've seen that's floating around social media has something to do with the fact that they can release information, like the location information or the people involved with the movies, personal information.
Would be your real name as well as your home address that would be released in that lawsuit to everyone involved in the lawsuit.
Wow.
And that's very scary for performers.
Well, yeah, because
performers with families. I mean, we have our stage name for a reason, because it helps protect them.
Yeah.
And to have our addresses out there, it's very scary. And performers have families. We're just like everyone else.
This is now. What are you guys doing as far as getting the word out? I noticed that just from following the Twitter feed, you've got people, in the industry who are, and people that are outside the industry, they're paying attention to this. What do you guys think as far as your odds of beating this?
Well, currently, like 7 of the top newspapers in California have opposed Prop 60, so that's a really big deal. The Republican Party of California has opposed it, as well as the Democratic Party of California. So that's a really big deal to have both of the parties oppose this. So I'm hoping that people in the party will follow suit. But I guess a recent poll said that 55% of people said they would vote yes on it. So I feel like that's hopeful for us.
Now, with this situation, we're speaking with a representative today from APAC, Adult Performer Advocacy Committee, and you can find them on Twitter, APA Social. And explain to me who the hell this Michael Weinstein guy is. I see all this stuff about this guy, about the fact that he's done a good job with the Healthcare Foundation and everything, and kind of explain all this.
So Michael Weinstein runs AIDS Healthcare Foundation. He is actually the proponent of Proposition 60 and the only financial supporter of Proposition 60. Michael Weinstein has been after the industry for years, and in Proposition 60 it actually states that if the state's attorney is not going to enforce this, it makes him an agency of the state, and he will be the one to enforce this. So this makes him, the condom police, and it gives him a lot of power, which is very scary for our industry when he's been after our industry for years, and he refuses to meet with workers in the industry or have a conversation with us. The fact that he's making claims like this is to protect performers is ridiculous because he doesn't speak to us. I mean, he refuses to contact APAC. APAC has contacted him multiple times, and he won't speak to anybody.
I love these people in the political world and people who are opposed to things. Yeah, they won't speak to nobody about nothing. It is.
And that's he's going for it.
He is. We have the same issue with a lot of different folks that we deal with outside of the adult film industry that we deal with in politics. I'll tell you, these political people, they don't want to talk to nobody. If they've decided they ain't talking to you, guess what? They're not talking to you.
Yep.
It's
very true.
It is a hell of a deal. We've got with us today a representative from APAC, the Adult Performer Advocacy Committee, and they're with us today here in our broadcast talking about no on Prop 60. And if this were to happen, which from what you've told me, the fact that they've had previous ballot initiatives before and they've all been, from what I can tell, voted down. If this were to pass, which I don't think this is going to pass. I think this is just more of a let's panic the porn industry and everything, and let's screw with them, which is really stupid. But if this were to happen, is this a situation where the entire industry pretty much just is going to say, okay, screw you, California, pack up and go somewhere else? Or is it much like I've noticed with the porn industry about all the years that we've been dealing with the porn industry, you guys will just figure out a way to work around it and life will just go on? What do you see happening here if this somehow, some way were to pass?
It's hard to say because after Measure E, a lot of companies did move outside of California. A lot of them moved to Vegas. This is such a bigger...
I would too. I've been to Vegas. It's fantastic. I'd move there too.
Well, it's cheaper, it's more friendly. But we do want to stay in California because we like having a central location.
Well, yeah.
That's the state. Because this is where we create the standards for the rest of the industry. And this is where we create that community. When we're decentralized, that's really difficult to do. And performers are really concerned who have families. They're like, where do I go? If people are moving not just to Vegas but all over the place, where do I go to keep making a living?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I mean, the fact that this actually is a threat directly to performers is new. It's unprecedented. So I'm not really sure. But I know a lot of companies are really sad because if it's not this, it's going to be something else. It just seems like Mike Weinstein is not that.
He'll just keep trying it. It's one of. Well, see, I dealt with. I always love how we always can tie the porn industry together to all the different things that we do here. When we started interviewing porn stars on Skype, we would bring porn stars on Skype, and that's what it was. And people tuned in because they thought, oh my God, they're all going to get naked and all this stuff. They're going to do all that stuff. And we talked about the industry, and we talked about their latest releases, and we interviewed them about other outside interests that they had outside of the porn industry, and it was an interview. And locally, we had a TV show on Access TV in Salina, Kansas, and the executive director got in there who was an embezzler, still an embezzler. She's been fired, or she was asked to leave, but she essentially declared war on us because we talked porn stars. And she had decided that she was going after the porn industry, and she was gonna go after us. She was gonna do all these things. And so that was one of the things that happened with us, was that we ended up having a court case with this woman. We beat her, but she was trying to take away our First Amendment freedom of speech, because, my God, we were talking to porn stars. And when it was all...
A serial killer that isn't even in jail yet.
See, this is the thing. And at the end of the whole thing, after we had beat her in court, she turned around and just tried to do something else again to drag us back into court. And so, you're right. These people, when they lose, they don't take losing real well, and they keep trying it again. If from what I can tell, this is probably not going to pass. You guys are going to win this thing. It'll just be another, the guy will just have to shake his fist at the computer screen and be angry. What do you see him trying next? If this all according goes to plan, you guys win, move on down the road. What exactly could be done next or tried?
I'm not sure, because Measure B was the condom mandate for Los Angeles. AB 1576 was the statewide version, which he tried. That got knocked down. Now, because he sees Measure B isn't being enforced, I think that's why he created Proposition 60. He can enforce it if, California decides not to enforce it. So after this, I'm not sure. I know he's kind of thwarting our efforts that we've made with OSHA recently, where we've tried to create safety standards that apply to our industry rather than the medical community.
That's awesome.
He does whatever he can to ensure that we're not a part of creating those regulations.
Wow. This is just absolutely amazing that one idiot has decided to go in and mess with an entire industry. Right. I'm just amazed by this whole thing. Now, I noticed that you guys are holding a lot of fundraisers. The folks that are involved in No on 60 are raising money and doing all these things. Are you guys raising money and doing all this to by advertising, to promote, to vote no on it, or what exactly are you raising money for, I guess?
Yeah, it's basically for the whole campaign, no on Prop 60, advertisements, because HF obviously has so much money, and they've spent so much money on this, and they have access to people that we just don't have without money.
Yeah.
And we'll never have the money that they have. But, a little bit helps. So it's definitely for like advertisements and things like that.
Now, you mentioned that you guys had, which I find just absolutely amazing. Like I said, it's election 2016. Masks are off. It's a crazy year. Mm-hmm. You've got both the Republican and the Democrat down there supporting your cause.
Oh, yeah, right.
So, who in the have you had any major names, I guess, step up besides that? I'm assuming Bernie Sanders or Trump or Hillary have not weighed in on this, but have you had any other major political people who you were like, really? You guys support us?
Yeah, I mean, we've had Senator Leno support us, and Scott Weiner from San Francisco. So we've had quite a few well-known legislators support us, but I mean, certainly not Hillary or Donald.
Now, this is a heck of a deal. Now, if this somehow, some way were to pass, is there a period of time that is going to kick in where, okay, this doesn't happen until January, or is this it gets voted in and the next day lawsuits can start flying if people want to?
I'm not really sure. That's very possible that the lawsuits can start flying. I'm sure we're going to challenge it if it does pass.
Yeah.
As far as the enforcement aspect, I'm not sure how that will work. But the lawsuits, I don't know. I hope not.
Now, with this, obviously, this from what I can tell, the adult film industry and just the different people that you guys have been tweeting about and having people show support, and the people you've talked about here today, you guys got so much support. This probably is not going to pass. How bad of a defeat do you think this will have, though? Will this thing lose in like a giant landslide, or do you think it's going to be a nail biter all the way to the end, and then, boom, you guys win?
I think it'll be a nail biter for sure, and it's just based off of the language that will be used on the ballot.
I'll tell you, these, like I said, I want to. There are 2 or 3 people in this world that I would like to meet, and it's not celebrities or any of that crap. It's the people that write these props. I want to meet the guy who's like, well, if you vote no, it really means yes. And if you vote yes, it means no. I want to vote that guy. And then, since I'm a big professional wrestling fan, I want to meet the people who created the referee bump. Because I think that is the stupidest thing in the world. Oh, let's knock down the referee, and then we can have our finish. Now, before I let you go on this, I have a non-Prop 60 question. And if you I want you to do your best to answer this, because like I said earlier, when we were out in Vegas, we interviewed all sorts of different people. We were all over, out there doing coverage of this event, and I would talk to people, and they would be like, no, there's some of these girls in the adult film industry don't even own a car. They have all this money, they don't even own a car, and there's all these things, and there's all this money being made, but nobody really ever sees it. When I look at the porn industry, is there, like in professional wrestling, there's Vince McMahon, and he's the guy that kind of runs the show in the professional wrestling industry. Or like in the UFC, there's Dana White. Is there somebody like that in the porn industry who is like the end-all be-all, this guy runs the show type of thing?
Well, there are very large companies or like conglomerates who own a lot of the companies who fight.
Okay.
Exactly what they own or whatnot. So there's like those few companies who are making a lot of money. As far as the performers go, there is a lot of money to be made, but it's so saturated with performers now. I mean, it's not like it used to be, and that's why a lot of performers aren't making the money that they used to make, because there's only so many producers now, like large companies. And there's so many performers, so that's why performers
okay.
means of income, whether that's selling their merchandise, being a part of affiliate programs, webcamming. There's just so many performers in the industry now. There's just not enough work to go around. And if a performer isn't savvy enough or doesn't create a business model, well, they're not going to be able to buy a car. They're going to.
That is amazing.
It's not going to last forever. So nowadays you have to be smart. You have to think about what you're doing, and you have to create a business model. Very different than it used to be.
Okay, well that explains a lot to me. Essentially, there are so many people, there's not enough jobs, basically.
Right.
That is, well, at least it's not the reversal. At least the industry's make, at least it's not a situation where we got all these porn jobs but nobody to fill them. So
right. There's like a few performers.
Yes. Well, that's good that it's reversed. Well, good luck on this.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, if this passes, it will be, like I said, if this has been the craziest election year all the way around. So if this passes, I wouldn't be shocked. If it doesn't pass, I wouldn't be shocked either. But this is a hell of a deal. No on 60. Use the hashtag NoProp60 on Twitter. Check out APA Social on
APAC Social.
Okay. APAC Social on Twitter. APAC Adult Performer Advocacy Committee. Thanks for being with us, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you for your support.
Definitely. Have yourself a wonderful Sunday. We'll talk soon. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you much.
Bye.
We are going to take a time out. That's a hell of a deal. More coming up.